Hello there, and welcome to Quite So. I am your host, Dada, and I urge you to visit my website, dadaisms.com. That's DADAISMS.com to connect to all my platforms. Today, I have an interview with Rebecca Irey. She is the founder of Blue Sky Financial in the USA. And that is why about half of the interview, the first half, is about finances, financial matters. But the second half of the interview is more personal and touches mainly upon a woman's role and a woman's status in today's society in different areas. So you could pick and choose whichever section you like to listen to. Anyway, without further ado, let us get to the interview. Hello, Rebecca Irey. I'm so happy to have you with me today on this podcast. You are the founder of Blue Sky Financial. And my first question to you is, how old should you be to have a financial advisor?
I think if you have money, you should have a financial advisor, right? So as soon as you have your first job, right? I tell my children when they turn 8, like I plan for them, but when they turn 18, I have a conversation with them and I say, hey, you're not married, you don't have children, you don't have a home. Now's the time. Now is the time.
Hmm.
Because you're not technically adulting yet, but you have an income stream. You're working. And so if you have money, then you should be caretaking that money, right? You should be a good steward of your own funds.
Mhm.
And I think that what resonates with young people, especially, is that like my children, my youngest is 15, my oldest is 34, but they will all tell you the financial system is not going to work for me the way it worked for you, mom. It's broken. And I'm kind of screwed from day one. They like instinctually, they feel that. And so to come alongside a young person, even in high school, if they're working, and say, you can write your own ticket, but right now, time is your friend. It's not going to take your whole paycheck. I understand you're not making a lot of, it's not going to take that, because time is your friend right now. Time is no longer my friend. I've been on the planet longer than I'm going to be here, right? I've passed the halfway mark. I've really passed it at this point. But time is still their friend. And so to come alongside them and acknowledge, you're right. The system is broken and the deck is stacked against you, especially in America, right? In America, we add $1 trillion to our national debt every 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to pay that dang bill. Somebody is, and it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
It's going to be my children and they feel it. They don't even need to know that number, but to just acknowledge, I see you and you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But you have the power to create your own system and be financially independent at the age you decide. So there's no age too early. There's really not.
Yeah, I mean, the beautiful thing is if you start early, of course, you can compound from an early age, but that requires also financial knowledge. So what do you say to people who did not know of financial planning at a younger age, they reach the age of 35 or 40 or 45 even, until they're aware that there's something called financial management? How do you advise them to take it from that point? Because definitely it's harder to build wealth at an older age. So what's your advice for these people?
The old adage is true. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So that, like, no shame. It just is what it is now. And now you can choose good or bad. We get to this place and where we live in the woulda, shoulda, coulda, and we don't want to look, and we don't want to do a budget, and we don't want to file our taxes or balance our checkbook, because we're like, oh God, I can't imagine that I am in this place. It's neither good nor bad. It is what it is. And if we know where we are and we know where we want to go, then I can help you get there from here. There is no place that we can't get, regardless of how old you are. There is a way. Is it always a super comfy way? No, but there's a way. There's a path.
You are someone who actually succeeded in taking the step towards generational wealth. And I am curious to know how you did it for yourself and for your future generations?
Sure. So I'm a big believer in using traditional tools in untraditional ways. So, I was of the generation where I made it through college on ramen and ketchup packets. Like there was no extra money. I'm not a trust fund baby. I did not have,
Yeah.
nobody paid for my school. Like that's just not how it worked out for me because they didn't know to do that and they didn't have the means to do it. But I didn't want that for my kids. So, when I started for my kids, what I wanted was generational wealth. And I think the problem sometimes with classic investing models is that we save money and then when we spend money, the money is gone.
Mm.
Like if you think about wealthy families, they don't spend their money, they leverage their money. They spend other people's money and they leverage their own. They never spend their own money. They don't do that.
Mm.
And so as I looked at traditional financial planning tools, I'm like, okay, I could do that. And then my kids are going to go to college and spend that money and then it's gone. It's not a leverageable tool. It's not generational at all. It's just an account. Not good enough. So for all of my children, I started them all with a indexed universal life insurance policy.
Mm.
And I designed it. I engineered it for tax-free wealth.
Mm.
So that is a tool. Not everybody uses it that way, but it's an exceptionally powerful tool when it's done correctly.
Yeah.
So I was able to say when my kids were little, I want them to have $3 million each when they're 65.
Yeah.
Now it's not going to be what it is for us, $3 million, right? Because inflation is a thing, but I could then reverse engineer that and say, okay, if I want them to have that, this is what I need to put away for them. And it's not as much as you would think because they have time on their side, right? But the beautiful part about that particular product is that when they get to college age, now we borrow, right? We use the insurance company's money to pay the college tuition. And when we pay debt, we pay ourselves.
Yeah.
And everybody knows pay yourself first. Okay. Yeah. And be your own bank as well. So utilizing that tool, that's the first tool I always use is that is my emergency fund. That is my kid's college fund. That's because it's leverageable. It's not spend it and it's gone.
And so you borrow money from the bank, you take a loan from the bank against that policy. Is that what you're saying?
So you can actually do it all within the policy itself. So as an example, when my daughter gets to be my youngest gets to be college age, she'll have more than enough in that account to be able to pay for her college. So what she'll do is she'll call the insurance company and say, hey, I have this money. They're going to give her a loan against the cash value in that policy.
Yeah.
The money is going to stay there, still compounding.
Yeah.
But she can spend the money to pay for college. She'll pay it back, but at a very low interest rate.
Exactly.
And anything she pays in addition, she pays into her own account.
Yeah.
So she's essentially borrowing against her own money.
Especially
no credit checks, no paperwork, right?
Yeah, especially with inflation, if she borrows against 5 years or so, the amount is going to be less in value as time goes. And so, yeah, definitely she's winning that way if she has the capital already. And yeah,
right,
amazing.
Right.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, I would have never thought of that strategy. I love it. It has started though with the parent being so aware and so wise that as soon as the kid is born, the parent starts an insurance policy for them. Otherwise, it won't really work, would it?
I mean, people do it even when their kids are 12, right?
Yeah.
But it's more expensive. It just takes more to get them through college. So the thing about it is, traditional, old school, old boys club financial planners are not, they're going to say 529 plan. They're going to say a college savings account. Okay, fair enough. Those are great tools, except when you spend the money's gone. I can't leverage that ongoing into the future. Whereas with an account like this, she can use the money to go to college, pay it back, use the money again to buy a house, pay it back, use the money again to retire, and it's tax free.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's an untraditional way.
Yeah.
It's a non-traditional way to use a very traditional tool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Need to be creative.
Yeah, true. Do you feel that now, since we have a lot of talk about the dollar maybe losing its value in the future, There's a lot of talk, let's move into digital currency, to cryptocurrency, and so on and so forth. Do you feel that people are shying away from retirement funds, the IRAs, the 401ks, the whatever they're called? Or do you feel that people are still believing in the system and that they still, put their money? I mean, the idea is between, keeping cash and compounding on cash or using other methods to reach wealth. What is your opinion on it, and what do you see in the market today?
So here's what I think that the old boys club is alive and well, right? And that is a whole generation of financial planners, and I am one, but I'm naturally rebellious against every dang thing. So, there you go. But that are still saying, look, this is what we've always done. We're going to do what we've always done and get what we've always gotten, right? Like I have a client, he's 28 years old, and he wants to retire by the time he's 45, which I think is fantastic. I love that. So I created a plan for him, and he came back to me and said, look, my accountant said I should just do an IRA. And I'm like, oh my God. So defer your taxes until you're old, because taxes will be higher by then, sweetheart. I promise you they will. But we have a whole bastion of people still saying, no, just tax defer, tax defer, tax defer.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, please don't. Please don't tax defer. Are you out of your mind? Don't do that. Think about what it does, right? You're saying, I don't want to pay taxes on my little seeds.
Yeah.
I'd rather pay taxes on the harvest. And oh, by the way, I don't know what taxes will be.
Yeah.
In America, we have the One Big Beautiful Bill, which the great promise, one of the promises of the One Big Beautiful Bill is that income taxes in America will never go up. Okay, well, any American that's been around the sun as many times as I have or less knows that all government promises are written in pencil, right? So it is true for this administration. And when we elect a new administration, there's going to come a big eraser. I promise you taxes will go up eventually. They will.
No.
So you're saying, I'd rather pay taxes on my whole harvest. And I don't know what that bill, it's going to be up to the whim and whimsy of the United States government and how much they want or need to charge me.
Yeah.
And when you spend money like American government spends money, girl, they're going to need, somebody's going to have to pay the bill.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is, and what people don't realize is that not only do you pay taxes, like the government will not let you defer forever. They will say you have to take it out. So your tax bracket increases. Mm-hmm. When your tax bracket increases, you pay more for Medicare. So now we're compounding the damage because we didn't plan. And we said, no, I want the tax deduction now. What? No, stop that. Stop it right now. Convert. Do it right now. Like I'm talking to people all the time, and I know this is a strong statement. Mm-hmm. But if your financial planner has not given you a roadmap to be Roth converted by the time you're doing required minimum distributions, fire them. Yeah. Fire them. I don't care if they're your fishing buddy, your best friend, your high school cheerleading buddy. I don't care. If they're not talking to you about that, fire them and find a financial advisor that can do that for you. And if you're a DIYer, because there's a lot of us out there, ChatGPT is a thing, and you're not looking into that for yourself, you need to fire your own self and find a good financial advisor that's going to do that. Like it's that important. It's especially for Americans because our government has a spending problem and it's significant and it's not going to do any of us any favors.
So is this creating some kind of panic among the people again? And is it pushing them away from the normal retirement plans and into more cryptocurrency, maybe buying gold and silver, maybe buying real estate? How do you feel that the market is today on that?
My clients they will dabble in crypto, right? I don't have a lot of people who are like crypto, yay, all the way, but they're dabbling, they're exploring. I have a lot of folks right now that are leaning into precious metals. They're leaning into gold and silver. And so my clients who are looking at gold and silver, it's a very emotional decision because gold and silver are high. And so basic financial principles would say, now is not the time to buy. It's not, but we have a fear of the devaluation of the dollar, of what is going to happen in the future politically. Mm-hmm. What is this going to be worth? I need to have a backstop. I need to have something I can hold in my hand because all jokes aside, the zombie apocalypse feels very close right now. But it's a feeling, right? So I think diversification is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't hesitate to say physical gold and silver. It's not a bad thing. And
Mm-hmm.
mental health is just as important, right? So if it makes, to a certain extent,
Yeah.
there's tools that will make us feel better. And
Yeah.
that it matters. It matters.
You know, as a person
Yeah.
who's lived in Lebanon most of her life, we have a different system here. We don't have retirement plans like in the US. We
Right.
can have our own insurance policies. Of course, anytime we can do a life insurance policy or whatever. Some companies we work for, if they're international, they do provide 401ks for us as well. But then we take out the money at the age of 65 with the 30% tax rate, as foreigners as well. So yeah, it's a vicious, but people are doing it anyway. And so basically in Lebanon, especially now that it's a cash country, we after the bank crisis hit in 2019 and then COVID came, people just lost trust in their banks. They lost all their money in the banks. Couldn't act. Now we have people. Some people have like millions of dollars that they can't access in their banks. And so people now are working with cash and they just buy properties. So there's such a rush on real estate, and because they feel, okay, if I'm not going to have trust the bank, where am I going to put my money? So let me buy real estate. Let me buy gold. Let me buy silver. So in Lebanon, you find this more because of the situation with the banks. But I do see that what happened in Lebanon with the banking system is happening now in the UK, in the US, all over the world, in Europe, but nobody's talking about it. The same thing that's been happening, what happened with us. We're a small country. We kind of were the guinea pig, if you will. And same things happened a lot in African countries before us, even. So the poorer the country, the worse the government, the first it hits you. The bank system collapse hits first. But because, the economies of the West are stronger, they're able to still hide behind the banking system. But do you see that the banking system is going to collapse? And what are the remedies for that? Imagine one day you wake up again and you can't access your money. People are also feeling that these days. There's a lot of talk about it in the West now. So give me your feedback on this.
It is, I will tell you this, like that they Americans are the queen of denial. Like we are. That is a scary, scary thing. I do a class where I talk about hyperinflation. And it's funny that you mentioned African countries. It's what made me think of it. I put up a $1 trillion banknote, a $1 trillion banknote from the country of Zimbabwe. And I say, okay, what is it worth? US dollars. What's this worth? $1 trillion. Zimbabwe money, what's it worth? And I have everyone guess. It's like 50 cents.
Oh my, I was gonna say $1.
50
It's even less
cents.
than $1. Oh my God.
Not even.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't even buy a candy bar
Yeah.
for $1 trillion Zimbabwe
Yeah.
dollars. I'm like, we need to pay attention.
Yeah.
I remember in the 90s, somebody called me. No, it wasn't the 90s. It was probably 2002, 2003. In that crisis time, someone called me and said, we need to start moving people's 401ks into gold. And gold at that point was $300.
Yeah.
Think about that. $300 an ounce.
Yeah.
And they said gold is going to go to 1,200 and we need to start rolling people's 401ks into gold. And I said, this was me. I said this. I'm like, if gold goes to 1,200, our economy will collapse.
Yeah.
There's no possible way gold can go to 1,200. Well, what is gold at right now? Oh my goodness. So, we have this, there's a certain arrogance to Western countries, right? America, Great Britain. But if you look, you're not wrong. There are cracks there. If you look at what the Fed says and you watch the things happening, you're not wrong to say we need to think about that. And so when my clients come to me and they say, I will tell you two things. When they say, I want to buy gold and silver, I never say no. I say, let's be sensible about it. Let's yes, but we're going to dollar cost average into this thing. We're going to plan it. We're not going to be reactionary. We're going to do those things.
Yeah.
But I also have a lot of clients that are looking at property not in America. Like there are groups that help us as Americans say, where's the best place to buy property in Europe? We're going to go there. I have a stunning amount of clients that are retiring to Spain and Portugal, and my own son is in the Czech Republic, for crying out loud. Like it is, we feel it. And and that comes first. Like the feeling leads the healing. That's how it is. So we need to pay attention, not just to the numbers.
Yeah.
The numbers say one thing, but if you're a grown up, you know that then those numbers can be manipulated all over the place to hide what's actually going on, right? If you look at charts from 2007, right? Like stock market charts, and you look at, okay, what do you want to invest in? It is ultimately misleading. I can put that chart up from 1990 to 2008 before the crash and say, which line do you want to be on, guys? And without fail, everyone picks wrong. Every single human picks wrong, because that's just one part of the story. And people were telling a certain story.
Yeah.
And even now we're telling that story. Like financial advisors everywhere are saying, just stick with the stock market. It always comes back higher. But the part of the story they're not telling retirees is that from January 2000 to January 2013, the stock market, the S&P January 2000 was 1,469. The S&P January 2013, 1,469.
Wow.
It took us 13 years and you didn't have that.
Yeah.
If you retired in January 2000, your retirement was crap.
Yeah.
Really, because you hit 2002 and then you hit 2008, and dang it, nobody's telling that story. That was 13 years. So think about that. If you retire at 70, you're not even flat until you're 83 years old. And what are you going to do? And if you compound onto that, oh, by the way, you might not be able to access those funds from your bank. I mean, that is the zombie apocalypse in America. Like that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's scary to us. And I don't
I don't want to think about it even. Yes.
I don't want to think about it. Right? No. But we have to plan appropriately. We really do. Make sure that we're planning our assets in ways where we have multiple ways to access them, multiple avenues of growth. And like the old adage of don't put all your eggs in one basket is not false. Like let's keep things where we know they're safe. And to your point, even in Europe, right, some of these insurance tools, y'all can utilize them too. And so while Americans, I fight with people to say the stock market has been going up for the last 16 years. So that means, how long can you roll black on the roulette wheel before you roll red? Pay attention. Listen to me. It's going to come someday. Is it this year? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not the year that you retire. We need to look at safe things. Like sometimes that's going to be fixed indexed annuities, right? That are insured, that are guaranteed, that you don't have to access the funds. It's a pension structure, right? So do you want to do it all there? No, you don't, because again, not all eggs in one basket, but we need to pay attention. Yeah. And this voice that I'm hearing from you, it's not hear so much. And honestly, when it is said, people are like,
yeah,
come on, that was Africa. They don't know. Like there's a certain American arrogance. There really is. I'm American enough I'm American and I'm Texan. I have double arrogance on everything. So but that doesn't mean it's justified. We need to pay attention.
Yeah, but can you really blame people who don't get the information? I mean, the media doesn't talk about it. The government, nobody talks about it. And so people who are not really in the field, can you really blame them if they don't accept these ideas? I mean, that's a problem. It's a vicious cycle. Anyway,
it is. And they have their guy says, you're going to be fine. I talked to a guy this morning. Yeah. My guy says, I'm all in the market, and my guy says, I'm fine. I'm going to be, even if the market, I had a guy tell me last week, if the market drops 40% last week, my guy says, we'll just tax loss harvest that thing. I'm like, 40%, that's a heck of a harvest there. I mean, what do you even, I sometimes I'm just floored at what people, my guy said.
We go to the topic of women today because it's going to be a long segment there. I want to just touch on the issue of trust funds, a living trust versus a dynasty trust. So I'd like to know about trust funds in general and what the difference between these two, and when is the time to start a trust as a family?
This is going to be maybe a surprising answer for you. So there's two different types of trusts that you're referencing. One is a living trust. We utilize that for estate planning. Now, I'm going to tell you I'm not an estate planning attorney. What I'm going to say to you is our estate is everything that we own. The $100 or the $1 million in my bank account, my retirement funds, my home, my car, the gold bars under the bed, the chickens in the backyard, all of that is my estate. And you should have a living trust as soon as you have assets. So when you have your first retirement fund, you should have a living trust. And the reason for that is, you know, the universe doesn't give us, God or your higher power, never gives you a warning shot when something bad is going to happen. So the way that we settle estates is we go to probate court, and probate court costs money, executors and accountants and injunctions and all the things we have to do. So a living trust as an estate planning tool allows your assets, be they great or be they small, to pass to the people you want them to go to without the step of probate court. Yeah. So we all know someone who's died before their time, right? 24, 34, 43, it doesn't matter, right? So we plan, and as soon as you have assets, that's when you need an estate plan, honestly. Nobody wants to think about it, but it's important for a couple of reasons. Your assets are one thing, but also your advanced medical directives, right? So, and I'm going to say this from the standpoint of a human, right? I want someone I trust to be able to make medical decisions for me, especially if I'm single, because if I'm a single person, if I'm married, my husband will be able to make those choices to a certain extent. If I'm single, who makes those choices? If nobody has medical power of attorney, which is a part of your estate plan, the people that are going to make those decisions are your doctor and your insurance company. Yeah. Is your insurance company going to approve additional charges to save your life? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, but I don't want them having the final say. I'll tell you that right now. So as humans, we want someone we trust to be able to do those things, but also for parents of adult children who are not married, medical power of attorney goes both ways, because if your adult child who is not married is in a car accident and you go to the hospital, you have zero rights. You can make no medical decisions for them because they're a grown up now. Yeah, I don't care if you're their mother or their father, who cares? They're a grown up and you don't have power of attorney, so you can't make those things. So a living trust is important as soon as you have assets for a multitude of reasons. Now, a dynasty trust is different. So that's an irrevocable trust, which means you no longer own your assets. Your assets go into the trust. You control everything, but you own nothing. So there are advanced tax mitigation strategies that we can use generationally inside an irrevocable trust, but it's a different tool. Yeah. One is we're planning for the worst. The other is we're planning for the best generationally. Yeah. So different tools. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Great.
It's a big one.
Great.
It was a big question.
I love the response. I love the answer, the way you phrased it, the way you gave the examples. Thank you so much for making that clear. And now we can go on and talk about, your work with women especially. And I like that on your website, you have 4 main sections as services, and women have a specific section, specific services for them. So let's talk about this service for women. Why did you start the service in the first place, and what made you cater to it specifically?
Well, I am one. That's the easiest answer. But here's the thing that made me realize, when I was 43, was I 43? 45. I was 45. My husband, I've been married since I was a wee thing, way too long. I've been married a long time. Anyway, so my husband was that kind of guy that he didn't ever want to go to the doctor. He would always say to me, baby, I don't need somebody with a degree and a white coat to tell me I need to lose 20 pounds. I already know that, right? So he would never go. And I never nagged him about it. But in 2017, he hadn't been feeling well for a while, like really not feeling well.
Yeah.
So I put my foot down and I'm like, you're going, we're going, get in the car. Happy wife, happy life. And I am not happy. Get your butt in the car. And so I took him to the emergency room and we were there for like an hour and a half and the doctor called me out and he looked at me and he said, your husband will never check out of the hospital.
Oh,
Figure it out. And I was homeschooling 6 children at that time.
wow.
He had been my business partner my whole life. I didn't know anything else. And the doctor looked at me and said, figure it out. He'll never check out. There's no way. Now he did check out. He did. He checked out 18 months later with somebody else's liver and no legs, but he checked out and he's still with me. And this is bonus time. So I'm grateful and blessed that he's still with me. But what I realized is that women, we make less, we save less, and we live longer. And it's more important for us to plan. It's so important for us. We will outlive our husbands. Now, my husband is a spicy man, and he says, that's because we want to go first. Well, fair enough, but I'm still going to be here.
Yeah.
And I need safety. I want to be safe. Girl doesn't look good in Walmart blue. I'm not doing that. When I retire, it's going to be, I'm safe to retire. And political stuff aside, there is a wage gap.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to talk about the reasons for the wage gap. The wage gap is real. We make less than our equally educated male peers. We save less than our equally educated male peers. And we live longer to the tune of almost a decade. Mm-hmm. And here's what happens in America is when we lose our partner, we lose about 30% of our income. Wow. And the United States government, in all its wisdom, jacks our taxes by about 50%. Wow. Because we're not married anymore. We're single now. Wow. And we need to plan for that. And women are so busy we care for our children and we care for our partner and we care for our parents and we're going to put ourselves last. And then I had a woman call me last week. She's 67 years old. She has $42,000 saved for her own retirement. She was taking care of her elderly parents. They passed away last year. And now she's picking her head up going, what am I going to do? Women need to know that self-care is a thing. And I don't just mean a bubble bath. I mean, you need to pay attention to your own self, your own health, your financial health, because your financial health dictates to a certain extent your mental health, and your mental health dictates your physical health. And it's a cascade of chaos if you don't take care of it. Yeah. We need somebody to come alongside us and say, I see you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to help you plan for you. Yeah. Not to the exclusion of your kids or your parents or your partner, but you're going to be here longer, baby, and you need to take care of yourself. Somebody needs to say it, and it's time for us. It's time.
And I want to add to all the issues you mentioned that there's the issue of ageism as well. I was talking about this earlier before recording the podcast, that you could hit 38, 40, lose your job, and then you can't find another job afterwards because you are too expensive and you're a woman and nobody wants you in their company. They'd hire a man who's 50 or 70, but would they really hire a woman in her 40s and 50s? And that's an added issue, of how to secure your income. So what do you say about that? And do you face this issue of ageism as well in the States? Yeah.
Of course we do. But here's the thing. It is the emperor has no clothes, right? You can't say that. You can't say that. No employer is going to say, well, I see this whites in your hair, darling, and you have a great resume, but I don't want to pay that much. Yeah. And you're not going to be here for 40 years because you ran with the dinosaurs, so I'm not going to hire you. They can't say that. So is it real? Yeah, but it's unspoken real. And we feel it, right?
And
we know.
What is worse is that the ageism comes with all these, preconceived ideas about menopause. Like at first, they don't want to hire you because you could get pregnant and take maternity leave, and then they don't want to hire you because you're going into menopause and you might become this crazy woman in their office, right? Isn't that the stereotype?
Let's just be real for a second. You want a woman to tell you the truth? Talk to a premenopausal or a menopausal woman, because they're not going to couch their truth, and we're not going to couch it anymore. And if that makes you uncomfy, friend, well then, sorry,
Yeah.
not sorry. Like, yeah, we are awake now and we're mad, yes, but we're also damn good at what we do. We really are. And if you are going to look at my white hair and say you're too expensive, you're missing out. And that comes back to women empowering each other. Like, why do I have a section on my website for women? Because we matter.
Yeah.
And it's about dang time someone said it. You matter. And that means we want to look to employ women. We want to look to, and instead of saying, oh, you're menopausal, you're crazy, say, thank you for finally not closeting your answers and just stating the truth.
Yeah.
Because the truth is the truth. And do I have to be as spicy as I am sometimes? No, gosh dang it, but it's about time somebody is spicy.
Yeah.
It's about time somebody said the truth. And
then it's
yes,
okay for women to do things differently than men. I mean, isn't that the beauty of the world, that you have different viewpoints and different ways of dealing with things? And I mean, if a woman is able to raise kids like you, take care of a husband now who's dependent on her, take care of her parents who are dependent on her, take care and be the founder of a company, that gives amazing advice to people. And I'm sure you have other responsibilities of the home and so on and so forth. You're able to do all that and you can't, just do a 9 to 5 job.
but
That's
I'm
an
too
insult to
old
women's
to be.
abilities and women's intelligence, right?
Yes, but I might lose my temper, or I might have a hot flash.
Well, men
I
lose their
mean, come on now.
tempers. I've worked in companies where, the boardroom would explode a zillion times, but because they're men among each other, it's okay. But have a
That's
woman
just a strong leader.
just, like say something not in anger, but in firmness, then, she is labeled as, let's not say names. Right? I mean, again,
I
unfortunately,
hear you.
it's
Yeah.
unfortunate, but look at this hindrance and how you have, again, you're saying women outlive men, and women take care of men, and women breed men, and yet we don't have enough money, and we could be
It's
homeless
not.
at an older age, and we face so much difficulty and so much judgment.
It's enough. That's enough of that now. I've had it. I actually had someone tell me, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Like, I have had male colleagues call me and say, you got a little emotional. I'm like, you're lucky we're on the phone, because you want to see someone get spicy. I'm about to. And I just said, thank you. Goodbye. And we're no longer working together, because that's a boundary for me. I don't get to call you and say, hey, the next time you want to be a giant, just give me a warning that you're going to. No, that's something a man would say to a woman.
Exactly.
We would never.
Yeah.
And it's about dang time we looked at other women and said, you know what? I am going to be biased. I want to work with you.
Yeah.
I want to, and because you know what? Men have done that for decades.
Yeah.
And it's about dang time the rest of us said, it's our turn.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry to say it. It is our, not that men, I'm pro man. Like, let's be clear. I have 3 sons and
You're
a husband.
married to a man and you love
I'm
your husband.
I am so pro man. I love men. I think they're wonderful, but to a certain extent, there are certain privileges that
Yeah.
men have that we do not have. And it's about dang time we put our hand up and say, I'm not a bitch,
Yeah.
but I know what I'm talking about. And saying the truth does not make me a bitch.
Yeah.
It does not.
Yeah.
Sorry. Is that okay on your podcast?
That's okay. Yes. So, well, the thing is, okay. So based on all we've said, what are the services you provide for women specifically?
So I do specific financial planning and goal setting with women.
Mhm.
And even when I honestly, even when I meet with couples, I defer to the woman first. I'm going to ask all my questions to the wife first. And this is why.
Mhm.
If I ask my question to the husband first, the husband will answer and the wife will say, yes, what he
Mhm.
said. But if I ask the wife first, she's going to give me her opinion,
Yeah.
and then the husband will give me his opinion, and they can be different. But if the husband answers first, the wife is going to agree. It's in us. It's the water that we have been raised. It's
Yeah.
the air that we've been raised in. All that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
So women need to know, and they need to have a financial planner that watches and says, like, use our truth. Your truth is important to me. How do you feel about this strategy?
Yeah.
Is it numbers? Yes, but the numbers can go 100 different ways. Your gut means something.
Yeah.
How do you feel about what we're engineering here? How do we need to change it so that you feel safe? That
Mhm.
is not kowtowing to women. It's not bowing down to emotion over reality. It's none of those things. It's acknowledging that we are entire humans. We are not just the numbers on the page.
Mhm.
And the confidence that we have and the feeling that we have when we design a plan, and our truth and trust in the advisor walking next to us matters. It matters. Because if you just get railroaded into what we've always done is what we've always done is going to get me what we've always gotten, which is not true anymore, then are you going to call that advisor and say, I'm feeling a little shaky about this. I'm watching my accounts and are we going to say I'm scared? No,
Yeah.
you're not. You're just going to close your eyes and go, this is going to be okay. This is going to be okay. This is going to be okay. And then it's 2008. It's not okay.
Yeah.
You need someone that you can call and say, hey, I'm feeling this way. Can we look again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we can. You matter.
So this woman who called you at 67 who had 42K to her name, what would you advise her? I mean, this is not a very large amount. She has so many more. She could live 20 years, even 30 years more. What did you do in that instance? How did you react?
It's tough. That's a tough one. I'm not going to say there's any easy answers for her. Now, the benefit that she had is she doesn't have a mortgage, so she doesn't have debt. She does have a social security check. Her expenses are quite low.
Mm.
So we're able to, and her family is close. So we had a really honest conversation about, like, what are your generational powers? Do you have family? Can we have a generational sharing of expenses? Can you live with your family? How are you getting by now? Do you have enough?
Yeah.
And she does have enough right now, and her children are close. So, the goal for her is, let's take what you have and safely accumulate it. Is she going to get massive returns? No, she's not, but she's going to be safe. So that if and when something happens and she needs to tap that money, either for additional income or because she's had something happen, she's going to have more there.
Yeah.
And that sometimes that's all I can do is say, well, we can safely grow what you've saved. And let's be realistic and say, what besides cash money, what other wealth do you have? And maybe that's the wealth of your children. I have 7 children. I have told them all since they were born, 2 months with you and 2 months with you and 2 months with you. And that's my retirement plan.
Yeah.
It's a joke. It's not true, but for some people, right? And here's the other thing that I'm going to tell you is I think we miss out. It used to be, and in some cultures, generations still live together.
Yeah.
Like grandparents and parents and children and great grandchildren, we all live together, and there's a web of support that is inherent in that kind of a culture that I think we as Americans miss out on, because we're all about the nuclear family and you're 18, go live your own life. And we miss that web of family connection and support. It's a beautiful thing that we've said we don't want that. And it's so short-sighted and, in my opinion, ignorant. Like, we miss out on the richness of our own families, our own legacy, because we don't get to hear grandma's stories. We hear them at Christmas and Easter if we're lucky, right?
Yeah.
The richness of the stories of our families, that's our heritage. That's our legacy. It's a beautiful thing that we miss out on. So
I can tell you, again, living in Lebanon, and it's a different culture. We do live in the same area. I mean, like you have aunts and uncles and great aunts and great uncles living like in the vicinity of maybe 15, 20 minutes by car. We generally live like, we buy a house or rent in the same areas. And I remember very well my grandma and her sister was single. She never married. Her two brothers were, well off, and they took care of her financially throughout her life. She never worked. She was someone who was very loving, who loved their kids, who would cook for them sometimes. She lived alone, but she would, cook big meals for them and take it there and take care of the kids, babysit sometimes. And they bought her an apartment. They would give her a monthly allowance that she lived well. Even my grandma, because her husband passed when she was young in her 20s. So ultimately, her children took care of her. So again, and it's something that's for us it's normal. Now, because of the crisis, my parents' money is stuck in the bank. So my younger brother is out working in the Gulf area and he's sending them money. And this is something that really happens a lot in our country. We have this thing, and it is pleasurable for the kids. I mean, I know from myself when I have money, if my mom doesn't need money, as in, like a monetary amount, I love to buy her gifts. I love to buy her like a $3,000 chain, for example. I don't know, $10,000 watch. I mean, why not? If I'm able to, make her happy and I'm able to spend money on her. So yes, we do have in our culture this thing that we do have the sharing of wealth, so to speak, and it's embedded in us. And yes, and I sometimes think that in the US it doesn't really happen because of it's such a huge country. People live far, far away from each other, and so this connect happens. Do you feel this is something that causes this disconnect, or do you have other causes in mind?
I think that there's something in American culture that really, and it is a double-edged sword. We so value our independence. We so value, I'm strong, I can handle it, I can do it on my own. And we isolate ourselves in that. And I can tell, and I can tell you I'm the mother of 7 children, and I prided myself. I always told them, I'm raising grown-ups, not children. I want you to be independent, productive citizens. And here's what I didn't know as an American mother. I didn't realize my oldest child is 34. My youngest child is 15. I didn't realize that in raising them that way, there would come a day where I would be completely tangential to my children.
Yeah,
They do not need me.
yeah.
I am owed no place in their life.
Mm,
I, I, if I'm welcomed in, I'm welcomed in. But if they do not need me, I am extra.
yeah,
That's a, that's a hell of a thing for a mother to go, oh, that was the goal. And yet I didn't understand what it would be to be not a thing to my kids. Now, my kids love me. Don't get me wrong. It's
no,
not, but they do love me. But they're not, they're independent humans. They don't call me every day. They're living their own life, which is
yeah,
what I wanted. And yet that web of support and love and interaction and interdependence, as Americans, we bought into a different story, and I don't think it's better.
yeah,
It's lonelier.
yeah.
It's lonelier. Here's the statistics. Speaking of women in America, suicide rates for women ages 45 to 55 are double any other age group.
Wow.
That's true. That's a
Yeah,
true fact. Just about the age when our kids are gone and we're waking up going, what the ever loving F has happened?
yeah,
And we're like, I'm checking out of this deal. This sucks.
yeah,
Almost 10% of women
yeah,
in America, ages 45 to 55, commit suicide. That's terrifying
yeah, it is.
because we bought into a story and we didn't understand the consequences. It
Mm,
was the goal. That's what I wanted. And yet I now have the goal, and I'm like, this is a very lonely little prize I have won myself. I do not like it. Where are my people? Where is everybody? Well, they're off
Would
living their own lives because
would you
that's what you
come?
told them to do.
Yeah, but would you consider now that you're aware of this to reaching out to especially your older kids and telling them, hey, I feel lonely. I would love it if you'd call me maybe twice a week. Just check in on me, say hey for 10 minutes. We have a conversation, I miss you. I mean, do you feel like you could do that with them and then maybe change the scenario?
Yes. I mean, we still have Sunday dinner together. Like we do all these things, and I'm blessed by my children are
Yeah.
fantastic humans. They're so good. So I've been able to have that conversation with several of them to say, "Oh, look what I just learned. This is
Exactly.
not okay. Like, come
Yeah.
back. Like, let's have dinner.
Yeah.
Let's have dinner. Let's go to lunch. Let's go to a movie. Let's
Yeah.
my daughters and I all went to do some art project together. So,
Nice.
but I have to be intentional now
Yes.
about that as the matriarch to say, I'm going to be intentional to reach out to my kids and say, I love you. You don't owe me a place in your life, but I think you're the coolest person on the planet. Like, y'all are my favorite people. Can
Yeah.
we have lunch? And they always say yes.
Yeah.
It's not, my kids are amazing.
Yeah.
But as Americans, like the soup that we're in, the air that we breathe is aggressive independence. We don't need anyone. Yes, we do. And there's a beauty to that interdependence that you have with your parents. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And
But I
we need
can
that.
tell
We need to go
you,
back.
it's also individualistic. I am close to my mom, so I keep in touch with her a lot. Even if I'm traveling, I call her every day just for 5 minutes a day, just say hi to make her feel that, I'm still there for her. But for example, I have two brothers. One of them maybe speaks or like sees my parents once every 2 weeks over lunch for like an hour and a half, barely sees them otherwise. My other brother, no, he talks to me like once or twice a week. He makes more of an effort, but I think it's an individual thing. You can't force everybody to be the same. It doesn't mean they're bad people, but everyone has their own dynamic, their own connection to the parents as well, their own relationship, and you don't expect the same relationship with each of the kids, right? But yeah, at least, yeah, there could be some. Now, of course, there's also a downside to being so close to family. Sometimes I don't want to see my aunts and uncles because they're going to nag me about the zillion things. I mean, it's none of your business. I don't want to hear your opinion about why this and why that, there could be interference, but and then you have to create boundaries and then you have traumas and then blah. So there's good and bad for each situation, right?
Messy. Family is messy. It's beautifully messy, but it's
Yeah,
messy. It's like
yeah,
it's not nirvana, right? It's not, oh, kumbaya. We're all just
yeah,
no, it's but better to have the mess in
yeah,
in my opinion. Like
yeah,
and not everybody's gonna say that, but
yeah,
and you're right. With 7 children, my relationship with every child is different. It really is. They're individual humans. They were raised in the same house by the same parents, and yet they're
yeah,
so incredibly unique and fantastic. And my relationship is different with all of them.
yeah.
So it's but we're all just humans doing the best we can.
True.
And I've tried to get my kids to understand, even me. Like I know I'm mom, but actually I'm just a girl in a world doing the best she can. Like I really am. Actually, that's what I actually am, despite all of it. So let's
That's
be friends.
beautiful. You are a beautiful
That's
woman. I'm sure your kids are amazing. And,
their stuff.
I do admire your spirit, your fighting spirit, your adventurous spirit, that despite all the obstacles you faced, that you keep going with a smile on your face. It's a blessing, really. And we were talking before about the masks, right? That you tell me about the I'm fine theory. Let's end this episode with the I'm fine theory, and then it'll be it.
I think that so there's a scene from Friends, and I think you're right. I think it is Ross,
Yeah.
where he says something has got him troubled. I have never seen the actual whole episode, but he says, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't know why my voice went up 3 octaves. I'm fine. And as women, I think we default to that. I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. And our world can be falling apart because kids and partners and parents and all the things and money and jobs and all. But if somebody says it's shields down, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's all fine. It's fine. And then we crawl into bed and cry with a glass of wine or a bottle of wine or whatever, right? Whatever it is for us, that's what we do. Or we sleep for a day or binge Netflix or Instagram or whatever it is. And we need someone to come alongside us and say, it's okay to not be fine. It is. It's okay. But we wake up, like for me, I woke up one day and went, this is not the story I wrote. I'm kind of mad and I'm really sad and I'm not going to cry because if I start crying, I'll never stop crying. And I don't think that's unique. That's the hard. I don't think I'm special in feeling that way. I think the reason that people don't want to hire premenopausal and menopausal women is because we're awake and we're mad and really sad. And you never know what you're going to get with us. You're going to get truth, but it might come with tears. And it might come with some pretty strong emotions. And it doesn't mean we're not good at our jobs. But we have to be able to, instead of we always going shields down, I'm fine. No, you're not. It's okay.
Because if you can afford the time to cry for 2 days, great. But if you can afford that time, you have a million things to do and all the responsibilities that you have to take care of, then you have to be fine and put on the fine mask, right?
Yeah. Shields down.
Who's gonna do the job if you don't do it? That's the idea. The job of mother, wife, housewife, what else is there? A parent, caretaker, etc.
All things, right? And oh, by the way, the dishes still need to be done and the floors need to be swept and the toilet hasn't been washed. And when's the last time you washed your sheets? Oh my goodness. All the things, right? And so why do we have a section on the website for women? Because women need a place to say, I know you're a financial advisor. Yeah. I'm not fine. Okay. Let's not be fine. It's okay to not be fine because we can get there from here. But the first step, just like any first step, is saying, I'm actually not fine. I'm not fine. Okay. Well, together we can make it fine. It's okay. We can get there. It's okay. It's okay.
We are not fine, but we are love, and we have the ability to be so encompassing, so loving, so giving, and we're not fine, but we will make it
together. Together, we will.
Yeah,
we will. And here's the thing, ladies, we will control most of the wealth in this world. In the next 30 years, women are coming. We are coming. And we owe it to ourselves and our kids and our grandchildren to lead the way in, I'm not okay, but it's going to be fine. I'm not fine, but it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
We're going to link arms and we're going to figure it out together. And maybe finance is my strength and maybe art is your strength, or dance, cooking, or psychology, or I don't know, whatever it is, but it's probably not my skill. So together if we can just learn to lean on each other and say, that's your skill. Great. Okay. So let's do that together. And now you can pour into me in a different way, which you have, by the way. Thank you for your beautiful soul. It's been my honor and privilege to have this conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I loved every moment of it. And I thank you as well. And on that note, I'm going to end this episode today.